fellow artists and creators. Welcome to my channel. Today is a doodle day in Zbrush. Normally I create content in Zbrush, but sometimes I need a break and just doodle without a goal or a plan or any reference images. It's the ultimate fun, and I highly recommend it as well if your muse has unexpectedly taken a holiday to some tropical island. Just to get the creative juices flowing again. Let me quickly show you my most used brushes. This is my Stream Deck, and I programmed some ZBrush brushes under the buttons, so I do not need to go into the brush pop-up or remember all the different brush shortcuts. This gadget is absolutely fantastic for an efficient workflow. Not sponsored, unfortunately. I'm going to jump straight into the sculpt, starting with a Dynamesh sphere. And I'm using the move brush with symmetry on to create a basic shape of a head. And with the clay tubes brush, I block in some elementary features very roughly. Doesn't need to be precise. I just use Z add and I carve in with Z sub. And when I have a foundation, I use the clay polish feature in the geometry menu, and that gives you a more stylized appearance. Using the clay brush to sculpt in some shapes, and the dam standard to sharpen and emphasizing some parts of the surface. And around the nostrils, I use the clay tubes brush to intensify the edges. The dam standard is excellent for optimizing the form and carving out the mouth area as well. And with Dynamesh active, I mask off an area so I can pull out the neck and also part of the torso, making the neck a bit more narrow with the move brush and pressing shift to smooth out the chest area. I sculpt some very rough collarbones with the clay build-up brush. Appending a sphere as the eyeball, I position it so I have an idea where the eye will live, and I give the skin around the eye a bit more volume, and then smooth it all again. Some enhancing with the damp standard brush. Masking out an ear shape. This is not the best way to do ears, by the way. Using the clay tubes brush to give a bit of thickness to the ear. And the clay brush to do a bit of shaping. There is more control if you model a very basic ear shape with, for example, the Z modeler brush, and then extrude the part that connects to the head. And that way the ear shell is actually separate from the head. But for a quick doodle, the masking method is fine. Now with the damp standard, I carve out the back a bit. If I had made that separate ear and used the insert brush, I wouldn't have to do that. I base the eyelids on the eyeball sphere. So I duplicate that one and scale it up a tiny bit. Copy that again, and then I make the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid separately by using the slice curve brush in an angle. So I cut out the lids from the orb. I can then isolate the polygroup I need and delete hidden and use the close hole option. And then I just run a quick remesh over both the eyelids. Once I have the separate subtools of the eyelids, I position them with the Move brush. And then I just copy the eye over to the other side. I keep losing detail with Dynamesh, so I continue sculpting the nose and the mouth several times. I guess it's good practice. I just fiddle a bit with the mesh. And after I merge the eyelids to the head, I use the Remesher Guides brush to lay down some directional lines to get a bit of a better topology flow around the main features. And once I remeshed, I subdivide the model and then I do some more retouching with the damn standard brush. And use the trim dynamic to flatten out the edges of the inside border of the eyelids. The doodle is doodled. I personally do not see doodling as a waste of time. It's always good practice, and in the process you can always learn a thing or two. And for me personally, it's handy to keep up the sculpting skill for when I create models for characters to be used in Poser or Dash Studio. If there is one thing to take from this video is to check the clay polish option in the geometry menu, if you never tried that one before, that is. I really think that option is awesome to get a more stylized vibe going on. Thank you for watching and make it a great day.